Hi, this is Rachel Elliott, and this is my Applied Technology project for week 5 of our course. The technology that I chose to integrate into my classroom is our smart board. This will be integrated into our 4th grade classroom. I'm going to be implementing a mathematics lesson by incorporating this smart board into our room. What I've done is I've taken the lesson plan from our textbook and from the student workbooks, and I'm presenting it in a more interactive and engaging way through the smart board. Throughout the lesson, students are going to have the opportunity to come to the board to work through problems with their peers instead of just doing it with pencil and paper on their own. This will help students become more engaged instead of just sitting there and doing workbook pages by themselves. From my experience, I found that my classes really enjoy having the opportunity to control the pen and write on the board themselves. So I've already implemented this some into my classroom, and it really does kind of boost their motivation and willingness to be the next person to share an answer. This PowerPoint that I'm showing you is going to be converted into another format that's compatible with the smartboard, so that way they can manipulate it and move things around and even write on the slides that I'm going to be showing you. Alright, so now I'm going to go through what the actual lesson is going to look like for my classes. So we're going to start off by talking about what place value is. So we'll talk through the definition. As you see here, this will be the actual slides that the students see. We'll talk through what it is, some examples of it, and then I'm going to give them this first graphic that is actually from our textbook. I've taken a snip of it and put it in this PowerPoint. So that way they don't have to always refer back to their workbook in order to see what it is we're talking about. So we'll talk through what each of these place values means, kind of talk about what number this might actually be. Then I'll ask them the question, how are place values related to each other, excuse me. This will help spark a dialogue. I really like asking questions like this that are kind of open-ended, so that way we can talk through problems together, get some ideas thrown around, because I have a really big policy of there's no wrong answers when we're talking through open-ended problems like this. And then we're going to move on to talking about what the value is. So we've talked about what place value is. Now we're going to talk about what the value of that number is. So this question from the text says to circle the digit that represents 30. So there are all these threes, but they have to find the one that represents the number 30, which would be the one in the tens columns, because 3 tens is equal to 30. How do you read this number? They're going to take each place value here, and they're going to write it out on the lines. This is going to be one of those interactive features. Just like on the last slide we circled a digit. Now we're going to start writing numbers out, so that way we can integrate this smart board into our lesson. We're going to go over some more terminology to kind of help them get ready for the other questions that we're going to be asking towards the end of the lesson. So we're going to talk about the difference between word form, standard form, and expanded form. So now we're going to talk about a number. It says, let's think about it, and then it asks for that number in word form, standard form, and expanded form. Now, in order to draw names in my class, I tend to use popsicle sticks with their names on them. I'll just pull one out, and then that person will give an answer. If that person struggles to give an answer, then I will have them phone a friend or draw another popsicle stick to find someone to help them to that answer. After that other person has explained the answer, then the first person will go back and explain it in their own words. This just kind of helps them to learn how to take in the information that they're being given and put it back out in their own words. That is an easier way for them to understand. So now we're going to start. I've got a set of problems that we're going to be working through as a class. And so these instructions state that they're going to use a whiteboard marker on their desk to work through the problems as we're doing them together on the board. So only one person will be coming to the board for each problem. The rest will be at their desk. So number 1, we have compare the 8s in the number 467,882. So they're going to find the value of those two numbers, and then I'm going to give them a minute to talk with a partner before they move up to the board. Once they've had a minute to talk it through, then somebody will be drawn, they will come up to the board and write a difference. If somebody else has a different answer, we're just going to take a minute and we're going to write all the differences in this empty space here on this slide. Number 2 is write the following number in expanded form. So we're going to, just like we've done before, we've taken the chart, they're going to regurgitate what the number is, but they have to remember from earlier what the expanded form is. Number 3, they're going to write it in their own words, what it is in number form. Number 4, what digit is in the thousands place, so they have to identify just the digit that's in that place. Number 5, what is the value of the digit in the thousands place? So, just like the last one, they have to find the thousands place and then recognize what the value of that digit is. Down here I have the little disclaimer to remember the difference between place value and value that we talked about at the beginning of the lesson. Then they will write in the value here in this blank space. Number 6, what would the value of the digit from problem 4 if it were in the hundredth place? So we're going to go back and look. The digit from number 4 was a 5. So if there was a 5 here in the hundredth place, what would the value of that digit be? 5 hundredths would be 500. All right, find the next 2 numbers in the pattern. They're going to write them in the blanks here instead of just in the empty space. They're going to finish out this pattern. Number 8 is a what number am I question. So they are going to read the statement and talk through it, figure out what the answer is, and they'll write the number here in this space. And number 9 is the same. What number am I? Number 10 is a little bit more difficult for their level. It says to show different ways to make 2079. So I'm going to pick several different people to work on this one because it is a little bit harder. So they're going to fill in the blanks for 2079 by breaking it up into different place values. So there's 4 different answer possibilities here. So we're going to have 4 different people share here. All right, so what number is 10,000 less than 842,719? What they're going to do here is since it's less than, we're going to identify if that's add or subtract, multiply or divide. And so obviously less than will be subtraction, which we know because we've learned that before, but they're still learning that in 4th grade. They're still learning the correct terminology for certain things like this. Some of them still have trouble with that at 4th grade. So they're going to set up this subtraction problem all in the blank space and work through it. Not just the answer for this one. We want to see their work all the way down. Number 12 is similar, so more than would be addition. So they're going to do 1,000 more than 700,012. So they're going to work through that whole addition problem instead of just giving the answer here. Now see, this one is going to be a little bit harder because Emma wrote 36,042 as that number that's listed there. Explain what she did wrong and then write the number correctly. So since we're getting closer to the end of the lesson, I'm going to let the students work through this first on their own to see what they can do. I'm going to give them just this very first part. 36,042, and I'm going to have them try to write the number that they see here on their own. Before we do anything else, they're going to have private think time to write that number on their desk. Then they are going to be asked to compare the number that they wrote to what she wrote. Since the question says explain what she did wrong, they should hopefully understand that this is not the correct answer. So I'm hoping that by giving them time to work through what this number 36,042 is, they will be able to have a better understanding of what the answer should be, and then we'll talk through what they think she did wrong. This will help them to problem solve, which will help them build their problem solving skills to looking at their own work, which I think is really beneficial for them. All right, number 14. What are 2 different ways you can make this number using base 10 blocks? I'm going to have them draw some pictures up here. Instead of just writing out numbers, we're going to draw some pictures using our Smartboard pen, which I think is really cool because it would be a really neat visual representation for them to look back at. And then the final question that I've got on this lesson is they're going to use the cards below to make the largest number that they possibly can. So once this is converted into something compatible with the smartboard, they will be able to move these cards around. So right now they're jumbled up, and this obviously is not the correct answer. So they're going to take these cards and they're going to shuffle them around to make the largest number that they can. After this, I'm going to do a Google Classroom assessment, so that way I can have them do their own individual assessment and I can see what they retained from what we've talked about. So they're going to take a short little quiz to test their knowledge, which will help me understand what they learned, what they maybe didn't learn, what they need to cover some more another day. The Google Classroom assessment also allows for more technology integration into this lesson, and they really my class I've learned loves to take things on like quizzes and tests on Google Classroom. They find it to be really fun and a lot more interactive than just taking a paper and pencil test. A lot of them use a computer so frequently they don't even realize that they're taking a test. They absolutely think it's just more fun because we don't always use a computer in class, just because we do quite a wide variety of activities. When they do get to use the computers, they think it's the coolest thing because it's something that's different, but they really love using technology because that's what they've grown up with. So I think by having multiple different technologies integrated into the lesson is really beneficial for the students and how they learn. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned something from it. I really think smartboards are a really, really beneficial tool to use in your classroom. If you have the access and ability to do one, I highly recommend you try it out. Thanks!